Business Connect Open Edition. I'm Carlos Gramache. I'm a business developer at LORIOT. And in the name of all our team, I'd like to welcome you to this third edition of our Business Connect online events. So let me share my screen with you and we'll get started. All right, so this event's going to be 1 hour and 20 minutes long. And I will now start with a small introduction of Business Connect, and then we'll have a look at the agenda that we got for today. So we had the first edition of Business Connect in November 2020, and organizing such an online event was our response to the new situation that we had to adapt to. We were not able to meet our customers and our partners in person for a while, as we would have liked. So this made us think of new ways to stay in touch with them and to also bring them the possibility to stay up to date and to contribute to the growth of LoRaWAN as a technology and of LoRaWAN also as an ecosystem. The format of the event was pretty simple. We would launch an open call for LoRaWAN solution providers, and they would have to send us their applications so that they could be selected then by us to pitch in front of our customers and our partners that had been privately invited to this event. This way, actually, solution providers would have the chance to increase the visibility of their products and the visibility of their use cases. And then our partners and customers would get to know high quality solutions and LoRaWAN solutions to also potentially add to their existing deployments, solutions that otherwise they would have probably not been able to get to know. The first edition took place in November last year, and it was dedicated to smart city solutions. And then the second edition was in March earlier this year and was dedicated to smart industry solutions and use cases. For the two editions, we received many different applications from all over the world, and we received very positive feedback also from our network, from partners and customers. So we decided it was a very good idea to continue doing such events. The result was we got people joining from more than 20 different countries. We got multiple partners and customers that attended these two events. And also we got to know, which is a very nice thing, that there were some intro calls that were happening between the solution providers and the attendees. And this really made us very happy because that's really the purpose of the whole event. So here we are today for this third edition, and we're planning to organize more, at least one more event of this kind before the year ends. So we'll definitely keep you informed about it. And yeah, for today's event, it was an open call, so it was a bit different. There was no particular sector in the open call. This means we're going to be seeing 5 different IoT solutions coming from different verticals. Once again, we're surprised because we've received many different applications, all of them high quality, and it was really hard to pick 5. And we're really very, very happy to have them here today present their solutions in front of all of you. Also, the format of the event is a bit different this time because besides the partners and customers that have been privately invited to the event, we also got this live streaming that's already live online. So you should also keep an eye on our social media for more details in this regard. So now let's have a look at the agenda that we got for today. After this small introduction by me, we'll have a keynote from Julian Studer, our CEO and founder. Next thing will be a panel discussion. It's going to be led by our head of sales, Alan Ray. And we have invited 3 different relevant people from the LoRaWAN ecosystem to be here today with us. And the topic that's going to be discussed is the integration of things. After the panel, it will be time for the solution providers. Each one of them will have 5 minutes to pitch. And after each presentation, there will be 5 minutes for Q&A. For those of you who joined the event here on Microsoft Teams, remember you can use the chat to write your questions. And for those that are watching the event live on YouTube, you can use YouTube's chat for that. Write your questions and we'll get them ready for the presenters. Also, please remember to keep your microphones and video off so that we can all put the focus on the different participants. And yeah, I would say now we can get started. And our first guest is CEO Julian Studer. Welcome, Julian. Good afternoon. I think you should be around.
Yes, hello, Carlos. Can you hear me? Just to confirm that one.
Very well.
Okay, this is working. So now let me check if the video screen sharing is also working. I just have to pick the right window. All right. Can you confirm that you see the starting screen page from the presentation?
We can see it, Julian. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. So welcome everyone. Again, Carlos already said the welcome. Thank you, Carlos, for the introduction and also for this time slot to make the entry of this fourth edition of the business call. So I'm very proud to open it, and I've seen that some people have already connected, and I also hope that some people are already connected in the live stream on YouTube. Yeah, as Carlos said, just 2-3 words about me. I'm the founder of LORIOT. The company was created 2015, and today I'm running the company as a CEO together with my management team. And today's focus will be more or less, let's say, IoT in general, because we have been facing that IoT has been becoming more and more important in the market. So it's really distorting everything in the industry sector, also compared to other IoT technologies. And I will speak in the end a little bit more about that. In this graph, you can nicely see that IoT has been surpassing the other Internet of Things connected devices like mobile phones and personal computers. And in this chart, you can clearly see that the growth in IoT is exponential. So I think everyone in this industry can be happy to have picked, I don't know, 5-6 years ago to be in the right sector. Many sectors have been suffering, but the IoT sector has permanently been growing. And even last year during the pandemic, in the beginning of the year, no one knew what is going to happen during the year. So also we were cautious, like saving costs, etc. But it developed in the end that we managed to have a higher turnover than expected. And we felt last year that in general business was a bit slower than usual. It's understandable because many companies had like some kind of a handbrake to see what is happening worldwide with the economy. But the good news is that from beginning of this year, we have faced the reality that many companies have released this handbrake, and we have noticed a stronger acceleration as strong as we have never seen in the last 6 years since we exist. So saying this, I think everyone here connected to this call can be happy to be in this very moving IT sector. Some numbers about our company, especially in the last 12 months, what have we been doing considering also the COVID-19 pandemic situation. Our community user base has grown by 21%. The professional public servers that are existing since about 2 years, we have recorded a growth of 138%. That's more than doubling. So we have been doing here a very good job, especially the technical team with the services. We have hardly had downtowns on the servers. This means that industrial customers have been very successful on their POCs, and they've been very happy, let's say, with these products. Also on the private servers, which are about 80 to 90% of our yearly turnover, have been growing nearly 50%. Considering also the pandemic, we expect this year to be stronger. And total connected gateways and sensors, they've both risen on an average of about 70%, which is also great compared to the last years. In total, we have 7 nationwide rollouts. We have about 35 smart cities working with us. We are reaching nearly 20,000 users, and we are active in more than 150 countries. So what is the stage now in LORIOT? We have recognized that it's time to scale up, and our mission is to enable IoT on a large scale everywhere in the world. And let's say our main focus is simplicity. We are a big fan of simplicity. And for us, this is today a bit a challenge because as you guys know, IoT in LoRaWAN or in general, IoT is not something that is out of the box done. It's not something that our grandmother can install. I'm always saying it's like if you get a big picture and you create a big puzzle with 30, 40 pieces, today is still the challenge that you need to put down together all the pieces to become the end picture. And one of our targets is to make this simpler. I think already today we bring many puzzle pieces together for the end customers, but there are still challenges for the end customers to make it easier. So finding a complete vertical chain today normally requests the collaboration with partners on the hardware side, on the software side, on security, on the network server, on the final application, machine learning, artificial intelligence. So there are many, many factors if you say that you have a complete vertical in IoT to bring it together. And this is going to be our, let's say, challenge, our vision in future to make this easier for the end customer. So we are starting with this target in, let's say, creating, and I would say today we are running the largest global infrastructure of LoRaWAN. We were in 2015 worldwide the first one that have created the public service, these community accounts as we call, and those are more or less more like door openers for our core business, the private service, and especially to make an easy entry to everyone that wants to start using LoRaWAN. But we are also implemented education workshops. We are very active in the ecosystem. We are part of the LoRa Alliance, part of the marketing and technical committees in the alliance, and we are also strongly pushing the roaming. Roaming means that in future we are going to connect all kind of servers together, private servers, telecom operator servers, even our public servers will become reunited in one so that we can create a large global network. And not only with LORIOT servers, but also with colleagues, or let's call it competing companies, we are collaborating to make an advantage for everyone using LoRaWAN. Yeah, we have three things to celebrate this time. We are getting 6 years old, like now, June, July, that was when I started 2015 LORIOT. And we have done the 5 years. That was a magic number. I think everyone knows that the 5 years is a magic number if you have a startup. We count ourselves right now as a small, medium company. And in combination with getting 6 years old, we have now developed three things, or we have three things to say that we are celebrating. The first one is we are super happy to announce our version 7. Our version 7 has already been installed on our public infrastructure, and this version 7 is really a milestone. It's, let's say, the best version we have done, let's say, from ever. We have tested it for several months. The confirmation is done that they are on the public server. Some of our large private customers, they have it already installed. And this version has been completely redesigned, re-engineered, and offers a superior performance, scalability, and a special security. And also with this, I really want to thank the technical team inside LORIOT. They have been doing a fantastic job in the last 12 months. 12 months ago, we started a bit with this project, especially to make sure that this solution becomes extremely scalable, and they have done it. I want to appreciate our CTO, Johnny. He was in the lead, but also the rest of the technical team that we've been doing a great job. So we're very proud to release it, and everyone that will have the joy to test it, I'm pretty sure you guys will be happy to see this version 7. The next point we want to celebrate is that we have started in 2015. The first public server was placed in Frankfurt. That's the EU1 server. That's our most famous public server and also the most used today. We have around 18 of them now, and the last one was just created only specifically for the Israeli market. So I think all of us know that Israel is one of the most developed countries when it comes about technology, security, IoT, etc. So we have always been having our fingers or our footstep in Israel, but it has been a challenge until 1 month more or less, because the restrictions were very hard and there was never green light from the government. But 1 month ago, the government gave the green light to use LoRaWAN also in Israel. It was the last missing country in the world, and now it's working. Israel will be working with frequencies from 917 to 920. It's a bit special, but with installing this Israeli server in Israel, we confirmed that we are 100% compliant with the local regulations and also with the LoRa Alliance regulations. This server is placed now, and it's ready for anyone in Israel that wants to start doing POCs or networks with LoRaWAN in Israel. The last of the 3 celebrations, we combined the new Israeli server also with the news that the ones that have been using our public servers for free, they knew that we gave, let's say, the permission to use 1 gateway for free and 10 sensors. There's a big change. The big change is that we are opening the slots that everyone can connect unlimited gateways. So not anymore 1 single gateway. You can connect as many gateways as you want, and the number of sensors will be increased from 10 to 30 sensors. So everyone having an account now, or everyone going to create a new account, will have the possibility on the public infrastructure to connect as many gateways as he wants and connect up to 30 sensors. With this, we hope that we are accelerating the market, that we are opening the doors even more for the entry of LoRaWAN. And yeah, we also expect a higher, let's say, movement on the servers, with the idea in a later stage to convert those public server accounts to private server users. With this, I'm ending my 10 minutes. I don't want to take more time, as many other presentations will follow. I can only say, let's connect, and we are going to be looking forward to keep in touch with you guys. Thank you. I give the word over to Carlos, or the next one, Alan.
Yeah. Thank you, Julian. No, it's all right. It was. Thank you very much for your thoughts, insights. I think we all agree that there is a promising future ahead for LoRaWAN, for IoT in general, and for sure full of challenges, and we need to be ready for it. So thanks for joining us today and for your words.
Thank you for the slot.
Yeah. So all right, next on the agenda is the panel discussion about the integration of things. So let me introduce you to Alan Ray. He's our head of sales, and he will introduce you to the rest of the participants. So good afternoon, Alan.
Hi, Carlos. Thank you for the intro. Yeah, good to get an update on LORIOT and see what's happening. But I guess now we will move away from LORIOT and towards a more general panel about the integration of things. So today we have about 5 solution providers that will present their solutions. And before we get into that, I wanted to just have a quick discussion about the challenges that solution providers, system integrators, or network operators face when they want to integrate things. And by things, we can mean the hardware, the technical side of things, whether that's the device, the gateway, the network component, or the platform. But it could also mean, the integration of companies working together in order to build these solutions, or even the end users, the people who have to bring these IoT solutions into their everyday lives and into their sort of new working processes. So today we've got a really good panel of experts across the field, we can say. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started with first Sebastian Stuter. Sebastian is a serial entrepreneur and CEO and co-founder of SmartMakers, who before moving into IoT told me he was handling critical transactions in the e-commerce world, which apparently was only a little bit less complex than IoT. So he's gone up in complexity. And
Thank you.
with his with the sort of end-to-end solution experience and their platform things board, Sebastian's team are essentially involved in bringing tough industrial IoT business use cases with IoT solutions, as it were. So welcome, Sebastian.
Hi, Alan. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
Yeah, good to have you with us. And joining Sebastian is Maria Matiasova, who Maria is the Director of Sales and Business Development at the EA region for Tektelic. And I know she is key at working with customers and strategic partners to provide a wide portfolio of carrier gateways and devices. Yeah, absolutely. And Maria has seen firsthand what it's like for, let's say, solution companies picking their hardware before they actually go to market. So thank you for joining us, Maria. And yeah, last but not least, we have Nick Zack. Nick is head of products and the Internet of Things at Comms 365. He has over 30 years experience in the telecommunication industry, ranging from sales to director roles. And Nick and his team, they're essential in building, managing and supporting IoT connectivity projects across a wide portfolio of protocols, whether that's LoRaWAN, Sigfox, NB-IoT. So he brings a real broad spectrum of connectivity knowledge. So welcome, Nick. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Alan, and good afternoon, everybody. Oh, sorry, good evening to the Australian. Morning.
That's right. We do have Indicium Dynamics join us later, and it's midnight for him, so a special shout out. So we've got maybe about 10-15 minutes to have a little chat, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty informal. We can imagine we're in the beer garden. It's nice weather across Europe at the moment, so maybe we can start with you, Nick, and you can set the scene for us. What are some sort of like presumptions that cause end users issues when they start building and integrating their solution?
So thank you, Alan, for the question. I think what we've learned over the last 5 years of working in the LPWAN space is that there's a formula for a project, for an IoT project, particularly an LPWAN project. You know, there's, as you alluded to earlier, there's the devices, the gateways, the network server, application layer, and more. And I think that what we've learned is that no one company can do everything. In fact, a collaboration needs to take place between experts who have expertise in particular fields. And I think from our side, we've mainly focused on the network infrastructure side. And to answer your question, there have been various challenges related to network deployment, not least of which radio planning, you know, making sure that the LoRaWAN gateways have overlapping coverage, depending on topography and geography, you know, factoring in the different attributes of the devices. But also we find that a management service wrap around the actual network itself is essential, because what we're doing here is producing production deployments, you know, for enterprises and local government, and even as small companies. They have a level of expectation of service. I think there are some critical elements that need to be injected, not least of which the service management, to make sure that that's successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think that it's kind of essential to work with other companies to fulfill these end-to-end solutions?
Definitely, because you know, some markets are ahead of others. You know, for example, Central and Western Europe moved ahead of the UK, you know, when it came to LoRaWAN deployments. So there's a lot of learning, and of course in Asia there have been tremendous deployments way ahead of even the European markets. So I think there are some common lessons to learn, but not least of which, we need to open the eyes of the end customers to the fact that there may have to be tuning and tweaking of the solution as we go along. Not least of which to make sure that we're getting, you know, the SLAs and performance levels that the customers want. And there's also a cultural element. What we're doing is delivering data, you know, to applications which produce insight and then changes, you know, in operational policy. I think there's a number of organizations that I've worked with, both in public and private sector, say they're ready, but actually are not. They realize that there are adjustments that need to be made. So it's quite a complex endeavor.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, teaching those end users to adopt their processes and the way they work, bringing in IoT solutions, you know, it's not just a technical challenge, but a whole human level challenge as well. And on the network planning and the hardware side, I mean, that leads nicely into a question from Maria when it really comes to what are like some of the product design considerations when we need to sort of ensure a seamless integration between the different components in new networks?
Yeah, thanks, Alan. It's a good question. And first of all, I would like to agree with Nick about what he just said about the complexity of the network and that many elements and layers must be considered. And even from the POC stage, not only for the full deployment, but you need to kind of build those bases and fundamentals from the POC stage. If I was to comment on the hardware layer, one must ensure that the product is designed specifically for carrier-grade performance, meaning that the product can be deployed and perform adequately in the field without any user intervention and with a minimum human intervention for many years. And here Tiktaalik strives for 10, 15 years plus of touchless operation. And what is funny that the operating cost associated with the sites visit, not even with the hardware, but with the sites visit for maintenance, support, repair, typically are much higher than the hardware capital costs themselves. Meaning it's essential that products can be deployed and left untouched in order to scale a large network. And we believe that this is possible only while ensuring that such crucial elements as cavity filters inbuilt inside, lightning protection are all come pre-built inside the gateway. So people do not need to invest extra money and they do not provide extra maintenance for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, you know, when you're first deploying your first IoT solution or project, you're probably just happy to get it out there working and be able to show someone to the end customer, right? But from what I've seen, a lot of these projects, in order to be successful, part of the cost, it doesn't work if part of the cost is constant revisits of sites and constantly going to check hardware and making sure it's back online. From a profit and loss sheet account, but also from the customer experience, right? If you put that little bit extra into getting quality products and services from the companies you're going to bring in, then your customer hopefully doesn't have an experience where these things go down and it costs you in the long run, potentially the contract or having to put out more to make it more stable and so on. And yeah, I guess this plays towards like the flexibility of your hardware and the whole solution in general. And this translates, I guess, to the platform side of things, Sebastian, and how what you design or what you have in mind for your solution probably doesn't translate to the real world scenario, right?
Yeah, and I like to agree also with Nick and also with Maria. So I think if you look at the aspect of no company can do everything by itself, it's super true, especially for IoT, because you have a lot of requirements on the table if you want to roll out a larger IoT solution. And then what we always see in the larger projects is, I mean, this is like a tracker, right? And this is also a tracker, but they are different in like their form factor. And it's absolutely necessary to have these different form factors to fit to customer requirements. I mean, Tiktaalik has a great range of different kind of gateways, which you absolutely require if you are fulfilling your customer's project. You need small gateways, which you can install for micro locations, and you need also, what is the latest gateways? EX protected, right? From Tiktaalik, and you also need stuff like this if you go more into the industrial side. And I try to like write it down into like 6 different aspects I identified before the meeting here, which I would say it is at the end even if you speak about tracking and you think about the different use cases, the real work requirements are totally different. So we have a large car retailing company where they take the trackers, throw them into the cars, and so they need to connect the trackers to the cars like a few hundreds each and every day. And they absolutely need to be robust. The GPS precision need to be always well, no matter if the employee put this into the pocket, which was the definition, or throw it somewhere else into the car. And then we have the other customers, which are more the industrial customers, sending around their specific load carriers in the world. And so they will attach this tracker once in like a few years. And probably they never see it again. They just rely on the data of the tracker. And I think this is like what at the end differentiates the use cases a lot. And I think you guys are totally right. I see this from our perspective. Operating the whole IoT application is the challenge, and this means that the integration is done well.
Yeah, I guess there's two sides to this. One, that there's a lot of unexpected things that come up when you actually get to ground and deploy these solutions, and it can be, you know, people taking the batteries out of sensors for their TV remote, but there's also I think probably a lot of information that you didn't see coming when you start gathering or putting out in these sensors that you could be utilized, and you have to be flexible to have, I guess, different dashboards and different cockpits for different users, right? I mean, they're both using the sort of same device, but maybe the platform needs to have some sort of different interface for them.
Yeah, absolutely. The platform on one hand, but also all components from the whole ecosystem. So we need a LORIOT because most of the time the customer and our team is operating the solution, so in a tandem. And so we really need a very good network server solution that also the customer can easily get into. And then there are lots of requirements on certifications and documentations for the gateways. And this is what Tectelic bring in. And as Nick said, I mean, in best case, we have someone like Nick, which we are missing from time to time, operating the network, because the reliable network is a component that even we as an application provider would like to take out and say, hey, you are the responsible party doing this. It's too complex for us.
Absolutely. That's, I guess, the core message really of this discussion is that, I mean, for me, what's interesting about IoT is that you inevitably, in a way, have to work with other companies and trust other companies and build relationships with them, right? Because they can handle their piece of the expertise. And yeah, I guess, so what are some attributes Maria, maybe one should look for when picking a integrator or a partner to work with for IoT development?
I think it's important that one looks to partner with vendors, integrators, or companies that who are committed to product evolution, because we are living in a turbulent time when everything changes so fast, and the IoT landscape is not an exception. And you need to ensure that your vendors are fully integrated, so which Nick and Sebastian were talking about. They can be agile to meet new standards and technologies and introduce more efficient features, which LORIOT is doing, and Julian presented us the new version. Because at the beginning of some sort of deployments, people do not consider, well, they think about potential scaling up the network, but they don't want to take those recommendations into consideration from the very beginning. And common mistakes are, it's just copy-paste mistakes. And sometimes it becomes annoying working with the cities and utilities when you need to explain all over again. And at the end of the day, it fails because sometimes, unfortunately, people don't take it serious. That's why we have such events organized by you to try to knock the door and deliver the information. So yes, I fully agree that integration of things is not an easy task to address.
Sure.
But if it's all the recommendations that are provided here are taken serious, it's an achievable goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very complex sector. I mean, there's many fields of IoT involved with building your end-to-end solution. And I mean, maybe Nick, you have a story or something of a real-world example where it probably works at a couple of devices, but as soon as you start to scale, you need to have the right components in place.
I think it's the skeleton in the cupboard time, isn't it? So yeah, I'll go on then. I'll tell you one. So one of the, obviously we have a particular expertise and focus in the network, and what we've noticed is in the simple area of LoRaWAN gateways, maybe external ones and even internal ones deployed in the field, they need internet connectivity to connect back to the network server, obviously. A lot of them are SIM-based. When we do our deployments, we recommend fixed line as a primary and SIM as a backup, as opposed
Absolutely.
Oh,
we
all
but
wish.
even if, you know, in some cases you can't do fixed line, you have to do SIM because it's, you know, some kind of edge of the network scenario. And even there, if you can put the wrong SIM in, you know, a lot of people think, oh yes, it's multi-network SIM, that will be fine. We have a spectacular case where somebody deployed a multi-network SIM, but it had it didn't have a static IP, and that's critical because you need to, from a diagnostics point of view, you need to be able to get back into the gateway. So you need that static IP to be able to SSH to the gateway. So, you know, just a small factor like that could mean that you have to go back to you know, revisit your gateway network. So there are some best practices that we're developing together with LORIOT in this area that we would like to publish to the wider community, because I think if we don't all work together and educate all the customers to a similar standard, it doesn't mean they have to take, you know, our network necessarily, but the point is, if we can actually blueprint and standardize, then I think we're going to help the IoT use case development and also the network success stories, because each time there's a blip or some kind of you know, pause, it does us all a lot of damage potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, my personal view is the complexity of IoT, let's say in the back end, not where the customer sees, is probably what's slowing it down and make it more difficult to implement out there. And it's our job, let's say, as the technologists, as the solution providers, to make it as easy as possible for the end users, or at least the operators of these different services. And yeah, I guess moving a bit away from the technical side, then, and more to the end customer or human element. I mean, Sebastian, you go to customers and you actually, you know, present to them a finished product and try to portray a message. And what would you say is like what you, if you were a solution company, what should you focus on with those new customers who are getting into IoT?
Telling them where the return on invest is. Speak about really the value the IoT solution can generate. Forget speaking about all of the technology. If you speak about the technology, you're at the wrong person. So you need, our best customers never ask about is it LoRa or what's inside of this. So our most important customers are really focused on, okay, we have this and that problem and we expect this and that quality. And I also like to add a real world story, which I think make it very easy, clear and understandable where the difference is. So if you order like 10 of these and you get them in a small package, you can really babysit each of the device, right? No problem. But if you order 3,000 of these and let them ship to like 10 different customer locations where none of your persons are, and they need to get online as soon as possible, as soon as they arrive. And you need to reconfigure 3,000 of these devices without even seeing them. It's a different story. But this is, at the end, it is what we are all after, right? This is what we want to achieve at the end. Absolutely. To even like get 10,000 of these pieces to the customer and bring the customer into the situation where he can do this by himself.
Yeah, that's a really nice point. I think the market has become a bit more mature in at least focusing on the core features or the core requirements of what a solution provide, and not getting distracted by potential things and other opportunities and so on. Very nice. So thank you, guys. I hope for our solution providers and anyone watching, there was a few snippets of information in there, but in a limited time, I'd love to elaborate further with you all. But yeah, thank you, Sebastian, for joining us, and Maria and Nick. We really appreciate it. And yeah, I guess the overall message is, you know, if there's focus on what you can do best and work with good partners, good quality partners to help you with the other components. Super. All right.
Well, so room for everybody. Let's all join together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you very much, guys. It was
pleasure.
a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, Carlos. So I think we're ready for the solution providers. And
Indeed.
I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, sure, Alan. Thanks for this very interesting roundtable. I think I really enjoy listening to all of you guys. So I'm sure it was the same for everyone else. So yeah.
I hope we can all start soon doing it actually in person. You know, those real life panels and real life conversations will soon be back, I'm sure.
You're right. You're right. Hopefully, yes. And it was a bit too short, as you said, but yeah, next time more. All right. Thanks, Alan.
Man.
Yep. So time now for the 5 solution providers. Remember, you can use the chat to write your questions, no matter if you're on the YouTube live stream or here in the session. So following the agenda, the first presenter we got here with us today is Bill Klee. He's joining us from the UK, and he's the founder and CEO of Novasen and CityNexus. Good afternoon, Bill. I see you already there, already sharing your screen. That's fantastic.
Good.
Thanks for being here. And yeah, we're ready to.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Great.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Bill Klee, and I'm the founder of a company called Novasen. So Novasen is all about how we take information and pass that through to AI systems so we can better manage, better manage the world. So what I'd like to talk to you about today is how we've done that and some of the projects we've worked on. Now, I tend to work with lots of companies. We create white labels, and some of the projects I'll show you in a second, things like Blenheim Palace and XPO. What we're really interested in is, I think as Sebastian said, is how do we do this at scale? So how do we rapidly deploy sensors, and how do we make that meaningful to the end customer? So what we do is we do this within days. So we can take a large building, a couple I'll show you in a second, and pretty much receive the drawings and have the sensors installed within a day or two. But we're looking at how to do this across thousands of buildings, lots of estates. We're not trying to do very high profile buildings like the Edge, where you need lots of engineers and lots of sensors and wired solutions. We're after how do we understand what's going on? And the most important thing for us on that is the context around the sensors. So for us, LoRaWAN, the sensors now available, pretty much makes it very easy to put in a gateway or two, add sensors that the customers need, CO2, energy, these types of things. So that problem's gone away. The one that we're now facing is the context around that data. And I'll explain that a little bit more. So when we think of smart buildings, we think of something like this. It's an industrial building, and we've put in sensors, we've connected to the energy, and we're trying to make sure the product within this warehouse is kept at exactly the right temperature and the right humidity. And these buildings, although they're fun, I mean, this is the most advanced warehouse in Europe at the moment. The buildings that we tend to not think about, or we spend a lot of time with, is old buildings where the information available is normally very old. So this here you're looking at is Blenheim Palace. This is where the Winston Churchill was born. And it's a 300-year-old building, very much focused on sustainability. They're taking into account their footprint and doing something about it. So we turn that into context. So we add we call Geo Zones. And the Geo Zones allow us to add the area. And if we know the area and the height, we know the volume, we can start to understand the temperature within that space. And this is where I'm talking about context, which is if it's a classroom and the CO2 is high at the end of the day, you probably don't need to do anything about it. You can wait for that to dissipate by itself. Or if you've got a room that's holding old oil paintings or watercolors, that has to keep its CO2, its humidity values at a very precise level. So what we need to make sure is the information that's being given out is using just enough energy consumption so nothing's being wasted. And this is why we're looking at how to do 99% of the buildings that don't have smart systems already in them. And the one thing about LoRaWAN that's made this very easy for us is it creates a plug and play environment. So as we've done the first few sensors, what we're finding customers are able to do is drag a sensor onto the map. So within the interface, they can choose what type of device. So it's a CO2 device, people counter, and that's automatically ordered from their supplier. In this case, it's a company called LORIOT in the UK. The batteries are added, it's provisioned to the platform, and it arrives the next day ready to be stuck on the wall. So from their side, they're getting this end-to-end solution. They're not worrying about the technology. These things just work. And so when there is an issue, they're automatically being notified that the CO2 is too high, the humidity, and that's the bit we're adding, is that context around the building, around these projects. This is another one that we've been looking at, which is within the library. We've added a fairly good low cost multi-sensor that's allowing them to almost trigger these events when the humidity gets too high. And the good thing about this is they're grabbing these sensors and moving them around to get a better understanding of their building. So this really is because that we all think of as commercial buildings. This has been a very interesting project. So, and the bit here I would also like to discuss is around data flow. It's more than just the live real-time transactional near-time data. It's about that context that's been wrapped around it. We need to make sure that if something happens, we can pass that through to the correct engineer so they come along and fix first time. We want to make sure that that data is being wrapped and then passed through to other business intelligence tools. So although we can visualize some of the data in the platform, we have basic graphs, we're making sure that can be passed through to their own BI tools. So we're taking data, allowing them to provision very quickly and then pass that through to other systems. And I think a few people mentioned the most important thing for us that we find on these successful projects is finding people that have that vision, people that really want to make a change and are seeking new ways of doing that. And we've been very lucky to work with David Green, who has this vision of what to do with Blenheim. He understands that unless these buildings start to change and adapt to a new world, we're not really going to get the sustainability that we need to meet in the next few years and to meet some of these regulations. So that's a stop tour of Novacine. I would be very happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Bill. I really like this last slide in particular. It's very interesting.
This one, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, that one, the one before.
Oh.
Yeah, following with that, I would like to ask you, would you add anything on top of what you mentioned in this?
That we can start to focus on how to do this on mass scale, but that context is absolutely necessary to be given through.
Tell Nick to contact you so you can have a talk about
Wonderful.
that. This looks
Wonderful.
like he's interested. Thank you very much, Bill, for joining us and for your nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So next presenter is Fabian Wetz. He's joining us from Switzerland, and he's the Director, Business Development and Operations at Descenso. So hello, Fabian. I can see you there already.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Remember, you got 5 minutes for the presentation, then we'll go for some questions and answers. So yeah, the pitch is yours, Fabian. Welcome.
Thank you very much. First of all, hello, everyone. It's great to have such an audience and to come together again in this environment. Yeah, welcome from my side. My name is Fabian Wetz. I am responsible for business development and operations at Descenso. I have 5 years of experience in the area of IoT. I had the pleasure to be project lead in approximately 50 IoT projects the last few years. and to the company Tesenso IoT Solutions. We were founded last year. We are a subsidiary of Miromiko, so we are a Miromiko company, a very well-known hardware engineering company, and we are based in Zurich and Schaffhausen in Switzerland. And the first topic I want to talk is really what it takes for an IoT solution to succeed. There is always, at the beginning, it depends where you start your journey and where you are today. But at the very beginning, you always probably do some consulting with your customers, internal or with the end customers. Then you do a POC and test your use case, and later it goes to hardware engineering and the software. And then you do a first series of your project, and later you probably do a redesign, and serial production is then is like the key to success with the logistic behind it. We try to set together or bring together the right set of partners for a mass market IoT solutions from a single source. What we already heard before in the panel discussion was really the key to successful solutions. And our goal is to offer full IoT solutions through a one-stop shop that we take our customers and partners at their hand and go with them through these different milestones I showed before. And our goal is really to go with them through this journey. And of course, we do not everything by ourselves, as we heard already before. This is impossible, but we try to go or offer the customer a so-called one-stop shop that he doesn't need to worry about, do I need a consultant, do I need a hardware engineer, do I need a connectivity provider, and with who do I work together? And we have the right set of partners together, and we create full IoT solutions together with them. And today, for today's pitch presentation, I would like to bring one success story of such a solution. It's in the field of building and energy. And the challenge we were given by our partner or customer was to connect private and utility energy meters to an energy management system in an easy and affordable way to enable sustainability controlling for real estate portfolios and their investors behind. And the challenge we had is that usually 90 or almost 100% of all the buildings in Switzerland, but also around the world, are existing buildings, so-called brownfield buildings, and they also have already existing infrastructure. This also is about the meters. They all have existing meters with existing interfaces, and the challenge is how do you bring this data from the different energy meters in a very easy and fast way to your energy management system? And the challenge that our partner had in the past was that these energy meters, if it's a utility meter, then probably it was connected already to an existing readout system, and then you had to use so-called if you talk about MBUS, you had to use MBUS splitters or other devices, and it always was really like a puzzle game to bring a meter up to the cloud or to the energy management system just to access the data, because this is actually just the tool to create afterwards the value for the property owner. And we were faced with this challenge, and we solved it with this device. It's called Tesenso MBUS. It's a LoRaWAN device which can share the existing connection to the meter with another system, plus it can read out the values to send through LoRaWAN. And this was like just the hardware side, and then afterwards we also had, of course, the software challenge or the platform challenge, and then that's what we created here. We created an energy management system for real estate portfolios to really get these real estate portfolios on the CO2 reduction path, that we really reach this goal of CO2 emission in latest 2050. And we provide different application levels for different stakeholders. This is the portfolio management, the asset management, the engineers who work every day in the different properties, and also the facility service managers. And as you can see in the visual on the right bottom below, there is really, then that is the end result that you see where are the buildings with low priority to take action, and where are the really high priorities to do refurbishment, renovation, etc., to really come to this zero CO2 in 2050. And yeah, this is just one of dozens of solutions we are building together with our partners, and we try to go together with them this journey in the different verticals. So that's was my pitch for today, and I'm happy to answer your questions, and yeah, looking forward to contact with you.
Thank you very much. Vielen Dank, Fabian. That was like really interesting indeed. Let me ask you one question, like how do you solve the issue or the thing with logistics when working on a big deployment, needing to like bring together different components?
Yeah, the challenge is really that you can answer this with a modular approach. This starts with the hardware, with our mother company Miromiko. So they build a modular hardware family that you can just stick together the different pieces you need when you need a new sensor or a new device. And it also is very crucial for the software and platform part, that you not have to build always just for a new solution the same and the same again from scratch, so that you just stick the different parts together and just need to do small modifications in the different levels. And yeah, this is really the key, that you can be very fast and also deliver mass IoT solutions with logistics behind it. And for example, what we offer is that we also offer our customers, if they have end customers, and the customer from us is just a provider between, that we ship these devices directly to the end customer, so he doesn't need to worry about the storage in his own place.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. So thanks, Fabian. We'll let you know if there are any more questions in the chat. We'll make them available for you. And once again, thank you for joining us today. It was a real pleasure. Keep in touch, Fabian.
Thank you.
Okay, let's jump to our third presenter. His name is Mike Ross. He's the CEO of Indicium Dynamics, and he's actually joining us from Tasmania, which is other side of the world. So a very big thanks, Mike, for staying up late to join us today. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Yours. We're ready to listen to you. Welcome.
Cool. I'll just get my slide pack open. So yes, thanks again for having me. I'm Mike Ross. I'm CEO and founder of Indicium Dynamics. We're a system integrator and developer of a modern data platform based out of Hobart in Australia, and it's 1 AM here, so nice and early for us. We're also the principal partner of LORIOT in Australia, so we're out there selling LORIOT services where we can to our customers. Our aim is to be the leading IoT and data integration solution provider in Australia, in the Australian market, and to grow internationally with our network of partners. We have a suite of products that we call the Indicium Stack. Sorry, my slides aren't keeping up with me. So yes, we have a suite of products called the Indicium Stack, and it's a collection of components that we use to build IoT solutions tailored for each and every customer. At the core of that stack is the Indicium Data Bus, which is our data integration and data management system. We are also a full stack IoT solution provider. So we work with our clients to understand their requirements, design them a solution, select any devices that they might be suitable for their needs, or if we can't find ones, work with partners to get new ones designed and built. We choose appropriate network technologies for them, so look to see if they have existing networks in the areas, be it Sigfox, LoRaWAN, LTE. If we need to deploy networks, we manage the deployment of those networks and the sensors to go onto those networks. We build and customize their IoT solution, their IoT platform, using our own technologies, and we integrate that with the various networks and sensors. We do integration with their existing systems, so a lot of our clients will be utilities or councils, local governments, so we'll integrate with their SCADA systems or their building management systems, finance systems, APIs, etc. And once we've done all that, we'll test and commission their solutions and then take on maintenance and support of those solutions. And we do all that so that we have a good chance of seeing how our software works in the real world, so that we can make it better, so that when we sell it through our partners, we know that solution is the best it can be. And doing all this means that we get to have a lot of fun solving problems, and we get to go on some awesome journeys as well. So I've just got this slide up here, a few photos taken just last year of some projects we worked on involving LoRaWAN. We've got LoRaWAN gateways on the top of hills here, sensors on eagles' nests, and trekking through long puddles of water getting very wet. But for today's presentation, I want to dive a little deeper into one of our success stories, and that is to talk about our multi-award-winning end-user control system. I've got a list of the awards that it's currently got under its belt. But to give you a bit of context about this system, it was developed for a client of ours in New South Wales. And so in Australia, our weather systems can be quite extreme. So we can get some pretty severe droughts, and we can also have some pretty severe flood events. But in the last few years, we've had some pretty tough times in terms of drought, and our inland towns and cities have struggled with providing enough water for their own needs. So Parkes in New South Wales is one of those towns, and they decided to build a advanced water recycling facility to take their effluent, clean it up, and reuse it in irrigation of parks, gardens, and sports fields. That presented some issues. So they were constrained by cost, so a limited budget, and so the plant that they built and the pipeline they built had some limitations. They couldn't build a big enough plant really to provide all the water they wanted, so they had a demand side issue. They could only produce enough water, and they needed to make sure they could use that effectively. They then had a distribution capacity limit, so a pipeline that could only deliver so much water at any one time, and as such, they need to make sure they could get the water to all their customers when possible, and make sure that everyone was happy with the amount of water they could get. And they looked at SCADA as a solution for controlling this pipeline, but found that it was too inflexible to achieve the use cases that they needed of it. So that they looked to IoT. So the IoT solution that we built and developed for them did a number of things. It first of all leveraged our Indicium data bus technology as the core of its control system, and we built a digital twin of their pipeline that could understand the historical state, the current state, and the future state of the pipeline, so that we have all that visibility. And this allowed us to calculate theoretical pressures and flow rates and so forth in the pipeline, and understand how close to a theoretical capacity the pipeline was, is, and could be. We designed and built custom hardware to control the pipeline. We went to market looking for devices, but found that there was nothing quite suitable for the use case we had. And so we built hardware that was capable of working on LoRaWAN and Cat-M1. And that hardware was designed to read the meters, so get flow rates and water usage information, plus leak detection and so forth, but also be able to control the valves. And I've got a photo there of one of the end units, one of the units that we deployed on the pipes. So we built that hardware, and we developed custom firmware for that, so that we could make sure that the control was robust if there was any comms issues or other issues at the site, that it could take over local control. We also leveraged LoRaWAN around the town for monitoring assets such as dams, tanks, and the weather. And we built in automated responses based on adverse weather conditions to make sure that the recycled water didn't, say, spray into a schoolyard or into a retirement village. We integrated their solution with their SCADA systems. So that had two main reasons. So we could implement integrate that data in, so that their SCADA systems would know how much water to produce in the future, and update it with information like dam levels, tank levels around the town. But we also pulled out information from that SCADA system, so we'd know chlorine levels, which valves are open and closed, and we could use that information to determine if the water was contaminated or not. So if we were to detect a contaminated water situation, we could raise alarms and we could shut down the pipeline so that that contaminated water wasn't sprayed out into the public. On top of that, we wrapped the whole system in an easy-to-use web interface, something they could use on their phones or their tablets, that let end users, customers, see their water usage, change their requests for water and so forth, but also giving it operators the ability to drill down into the information, make changes to the digital twin configuration, view the data on maps, look at historical information, all that sort of stuff. So all built in an easy-to-use way that required minimal training. And so we delivered that in a way that was a future-proof solution. So since completing that project, we've embarked on a number of enhancements to it. So we've enhanced it with demand forecasting using evapotranspiration models. So been able to understand better how much water they will need to irrigate, and then changing the system to match. We've added hydrological modeling as well, so we can see with water storages if the forecast rainfall might push the storage over the top and cause downstream flooding. Yeah, we've integrated domestic sized LoRaWAN-based water metering into the system, so we can understand the domestic use and integrate that with their finance systems for billing. So this just happens to be one of the examples of how we've used our Indicium stack and our Indicium databus architecture in delivering industrial grade IoT solutions. Indicium are now taking this product to other irrigators around Australia and the world, and then we are looking for other partners to take it further with us. so we can work in more than just Australia and New Zealand. So that's Indicium. I'd just like to quickly say thank you for inviting us along today, and thanks to LORIOT too for giving us the LORIOT network server. It's actually a product that we've found to give us a lot more confidence in LoRa. So thank you. I'll hand back.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. Thanks for your words also. Wanted to ask, because I'm sure that your work has taken you to really cool places. Like, is there any project you would like to highlight, or any place you've been to, like any deployment be worth mentioning?
I did have a little camera shot there of an island called Robins Island. So that's a small island off the northwest of Tasmania. It's accessible by car. You have to drive only at certain times of the day across the sand with your car half underwater, but that's a lot of fun. But yeah, on that island we got to see a lot of eagles' nests where we installed various sensors and cameras, and saw some absolutely amazing views. So yeah, that's part of a project for a large wind farm that'll be being built in the next few years, using IoT to understand the behavior of eagles and doing our best to keep them as safe as possible.
Nice. I guess when it comes to wildlife, landscapes and stuff, like pretty much nothing can compare to that you guys got down there. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So thank you very much once again, Mike, for staying up late, for joining us today, and we'll.
Hi, I'm Eric Zimkowiak. At Pilot Things, we believe IoT is an opportunity to build new solutions for your benefit. There are many problems we can solve with IoT. Our mission is to build the best solution to solve your problems. An IoT solution must adapt to your need and not the opposite. Let's see how we do that. Introducing a new way to build applications for sensors, Studio T. With Studio T, we can build applications that are easy to use for customers, but still leverage maximum IoT value. And this is key. We build nice web-like user interface on top of our IoT advanced software services. Let's demonstrate this with the Vaccine Guardian sensor app. The problem we solve here is to tackle logistical complexity of distributing vaccine or other temperature-sensitive products. Because mobility is key for employees, Vaccine Guardian application is compatible with your mobile phone. Vaccine Guardian monitors in real time the temperature. You can set alarm threshold very easily and raise alerts that you can list and acknowledge directly in the application. You also can graph the historical temperature value. We support multi-languages and metric formats. To get the solution, you simply order it online from our partner called ShipConnect. You will receive the sensors and a LoRaWAN gateway that are pre-configured. It's plug and play. You plug the gateway, put the sensors in the fridges, and log it into the mobile application. The sensor is so small that you could put it everywhere. Its antenna has been specially designed to perform within a fridge. And the battery lasts 10 years, and it's replaceable. Vaccine Guardian is very versatile and could be useful in many use cases. At the hospital, which is generally the central vaccine repository, in the trucks that dispatch the vaccines, at the vaccination centers, With Guardian, with Vaccine Guardian, you monitor the complete chain. Now let's introduce a novel feature that is a key differentiator: Adaptive App. This feature is one of our software services. It is available for all the applications we deliver. With Adaptive App, Vaccine Guardian is compatible with more than 500 sensors. You can add sensors like dry contact to secure the vaccine storage room or GPS to track the vaccines, but the possibilities are endless. To extend the Vaccine Guardian feature, we partner with Microsoft. We integrated Vaccine Guardian with Microsoft Power Platform. We can add features or business processes as easy as writing down some Excel macros. You can also even do it yourself. We can use the 450 connectors included in Power Platform, for instance, to send a team message when an alarm raises. We can really integrate Vaccine Guardian in your information system to maximize the ROI. So let's sum up. Vaccine Guardian's sensor app is easy to use. It's versatile to address every use cases. And it's adaptive. You can add sensors and logic to extend the solution. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're here.
Eric.
Thanks, Eric, for your presentation. It's a really interesting use case. And actually, I wanted to ask you, because obviously when it's all about like vaccines, I guess temperature is one of the key things that you want to measure there. But I'm wondering, is there any other type of sensor that you would include to this solution, like on top of the existing sensors? Anything else you could monitor?
Yeah, it's a great question. As I mentioned, we partner with a lot of sensor manufacturers out there in the LoRaWAN space. So we have what we call a catalog of sensors, and so we have more than 500 sensors that are already decoded in our application. So you can add these sensors like plug and play. And also for the deployment, I did not mention that, but when you add a sensor, we also have a QR code application. So if the sensor is compatible with LoRaWAN standard, QR code LoRaWAN standard, you just have to scan it, and automatically it will come into the application. So that's why we call it adaptive app. So it's a way to add sensors, and so to have a better use case that integrates your needs.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Yeah, indeed. Thanks for that. Yeah, and what is also, Eric, like what is your modular platform like? Like, would you define?
Yeah, very good question. Actually, on the market, when a customer would like to have an IoT solution, he has two main technological way. So the first way is to use a platform as a service like Microsoft or Amazon provide. And so he has to build up the solution from the ground up. Also, the integrator should have to do that. So it's very complex, but you can do whatever you want. But it's complex, it's costly. And the other way is to build a packaged solution. Like Vaccine Guardian, it's a packaged solution. And so in that case, you have one solution with one sensor, and that's it. You cannot configure a lot of that solution. So it's very easy for you, but it's very hard for you to get the value because you cannot integrate the data, you cannot modify, you cannot customize. And we believe it's key for solutions. So this is where our platform, so modular platform comes in. With this modular platform, since we have pre-configure and pre-build software component, we can use this component to build a custom solution very quickly. For instance, for this solution, for the Vaccine Guardian, we use our platform to do it, and it took us about 1 month to do that. So it's very, very easy.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It really sounds like that. There's one question in the chat, Eric. Says, how does the LoRaWAN monitoring on the move work?
On the what?
On the move. I guess
On
like
the move.
as the asset is moving, like.
Okay, on the, yeah, that's a great question. Actually, the sensor can store the information. So suppose the sensor is not connected to the LoRaWAN network, then it could store more than 3,000 information, so temperature information. So that means that when it comes back to the network, we get back the information. So the times where the sensor is out of coverage, you don't have real-time information, but you don't lose any information actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I guess that answers Nick's question. Otherwise, we'll let him know that he can contact you for further information.
Just to complement the use case, suppose you're in the truck, you and then on the go you don't have any information, but at the arrival you can check that the temperature has not exceeded your threshold, so you know if the product is still in the good health or not.
Yep, that totally makes sense. All right. Yep. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you.
And have a nice evening. Not evening. Have a nice day. It's still
it's
time
still morning
for
here
you. Sorry,
in Canada.
I was confused. All right. Happy weekend anyway, and thank you very much for joining us today. All right. So our last solution provider is DecentLab, and we got here today with us Reinhard Bischoff. Is the founder and the managing director at DecentLab. He's joining us from Switzerland. I can already see him. So, hello, Reinhard.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you
very
well. So,
good.
Thanks for being here. Welcome.
Yeah. Okay, I welcome you to the last presentation. I tried to make it short and quick, then we have the end of the day and together. So, welcome to my presentation, very short. DecentLab is a company we were founded in 2008 and have so more than 10 years of experience from the beginning of wireless communicating sensor devices, which are all battery operated. So from the beginning, when our company was founded, we're a Swiss company, we do the engineering, we do the manufacturing in Switzerland in-house. So by today, we have customers in 60 countries. Many of our customers or many of our devices, they send the data over the gateways to the LORIOT servers, which just Julian showed. So the community, also the service, but as well then the on-premise LORIOT deployments. So I want to show you what we do is water level monitoring. So let's start like why, very simple. So we have groundwater monitoring in many regions in the Nordics, but as well in many other places where this is. We have wells where we want to monitor the pump that it doesn't dry run. We do a lot of boreholes monitoring for similar purpose in the mining industries. Water level is relevant for flood prevention or flood alarming, and to look at, we need levels all the time in the irrigation and plantations. We have then, as seen in the utilities and distribution, leakage detection, and also with that and the flooding traffic rerouting, and for sure always environment and climate change observations. Now, I will quickly show you how does that look like in the field. So on the left you see in a large plantation a groundwater level monitoring. You see our device in the middle of the plantation, and the probe goes below ground to measure the groundwater table so that we can in a large scale irrigate to these large plantations. On the right side you see the pressure sensor deployed and screwed into the water distribution pipelines for the utilities companies. So you want to monitor the temperature for when it is for heating or cooling. You want to also look where you lose your pressure and that the whole network has enough pressure to supply things. We have also water level and temperature monitoring in smart cities. And smart cities, then we talk like here with UNHCR in refugees camps, so we can quickly deploy with all these wireless devices from us, tanks for the water distributions, because there's a population of 300,000 people, but not that infrastructure as we use in established utilities. So with that, we can immediately get information and improve the efficiency. On top of that, we combine that with water quality sensors like electrical conductivity and also dissolved oxygen, but this is more than in the later on water treatment of the sewer system. Here, a nice use case in the smart city of Bielefeld. We are monitoring here not the pipe or the water, or normally it should be dry because you see here our device installed. It's inside where the district heating is going to the right. You see the pipe. But from time to time, such thing can happen that it leaks, but on the other side, it can also happen that it rains, and you want to discover when it's flooded, and then also to detect, was it just rainwater, so you don't need to interact, or unless it's very high, or is it leakage of the heat. Here we see then away from the precious probes, we go here to more the indirect measurement or interference-free measurements with ultrasonic transducers, where you can monitor the water so there is no debris accumulating, creating a flood. This can happen in a strong or heavy rainy event. This can happen very quick, that it piles up, and then you have all the water into the neighborhood, which makes large damages. So here you can monitor the city and then plan your resources. So with this, we have deployed that in large cities like Hong Kong, but as well in retention basins, but also in very rural environments. Here, so we can also do then traffic rerouting. We cannot change, in that case, the flow, but we can reroute traffic like in this pedestrian or bicycle rail road. But this was just one thing. So Decent Lab has all these more than 10 years of activities. We have by today about 35 different devices, mainly in the outdoor. We have one indoor device, a multi-sensor many times used. But as you can see, they're all ready for outdoor and harsh environment to be deployed. So that's it. So I'm now very happy waiting for your questions, and or then go for the beer in the evening.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. We were like closer to each other. Yeah, thanks, Reinhard. I really like water use cases because it's a limited resource, and I especially like any type of use case water related. And thanks for sharing all those nice examples with us. Let me ask you: are water related use cases, you would say, one of your main segments or businesses, or what percentage would that be of your total business?
Yeah, we started in back in time in research, so where we deployed project in research, in environmental research, and then it came a lot into water. So by today, it's one of our key markets, as we always get in touch with the water. But from that away, we go a bit to the smart agriculture, but it's very water related, or we go to the utilities, industrial IoT. So water is a key role in our business, and then it goes to these other use cases automatically.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Reinhard. So yeah, one more question is what is the battery life like of one of these ultrasound distance sensors devices, like DL MPX, for example?
Yeah, so with this device, we have larger batteries. As you look, our devices are rather big in the IoT scene, so we want to have a high battery lifetime. So if it measures, it does multiple measurements to have a good measurement, reliable. So it has about 6 years lifetime when you transmit every 10 minutes, or you have a 12 years lifetime when you transmit every 60 minutes. And it's for a battery part, we just use simple alkaline batteries. So every customer, it's like easy to maintain, let's say worldwide, and not like special batteries. So that was also key for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For the pressure sensor, we have even way longer lifetime because the pressure sensor is a more power economic sensor. So the lifetime is mainly driven sometimes by the various sensors we have attached.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yep. Thanks for that. There's one question in the chat actually. It says, do you think that with climate change focus, there is a major opportunity in flood monitoring globally?
Yes, in fact, we already mentioned in a city like in Darmstadt that the flood, they were able to interact. They saw an alarm and they were able to clean away the debris. So it was saving many 100,000 of euros of damage. It becomes more important that we can manage the climate crisis happens. We have to have these tools to cope with it, or cope, to be more reactive with our resources.
Okay, actually one more question. I'm checking, Reinhard, if that's fine with you. Yeah, it says, is there a use case for structural health?
Structural health monitoring. We started in the very beginning in 2005, and that was our first project by my former boss, that we applied that to structures. By today, we measure some strains in bridges and steel beams, and we have also some weight things. It is, for the structural health monitoring, it is very difficult because every bridge is different, or it's not from a sensor or from an installation, it's more than, to make the conclusion about the bridge. I think that comes back to some presentations before. In IT also, the data interpretation and the conclusion is sometimes the harder part.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. All right. Yeah, Reinhard. So I would say thank you very much. It was really interesting. Thanks for your presentation, for joining us. And yeah, let's keep in touch. You'll hear from us soon. We'll be sending also not only yours, but all the one-pagers, PDFs of all the different solution providers to all the attendees. Also, we'll be posting like some social media about the event, the different presentations, the panel, and all that. So yeah, thank you, Reinhard. Have a nice weekend. Thank you very much.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, so from our side, that's everything. I think the event's coming to an end. And I would just like to thank everyone for joining. It was a new format we hadn't done before, but I think the panel was a very interesting option. And also the different solutions that were presented were really high quality. And I hope that you all found them interesting, same as I did. So yeah, I would say thanks. And once again, let's keep in touch and let's stay connected. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining. Have a nice evening.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.